welcome to Winter Gardens TV. On this month's episode, we catch up with Suzi Barnes, who tells us about the conference centre going into 2024.
We once again catch up with Stephen Mercer, who talks about the Winter Gardens and its involvement in the war efforts. And we caught Richard Slater just before the Red Rhodes Awards last month.
But first, we head over to the director's chair with Steve.
Okay, so currently I'm part of the stage department, technical assistant. That is a variety of roles throughout the year. We set up the events from the light, the sound, the set and the scenery you see on the Opera House stage. That's all done through us. Sometimes I'm stage manager, so running the stage. I've been learning some stuff on the fly floor, which is what I want to do. That's exciting for me. And learning new parts of the business that I wasn't involved in before. So I started with the Winter Gardens in 2019, and that's the job I ideally came here to do, but at that time it wasn't available. So I went into the operations department and worked my way up to running that department. It became my department. Career progression in this building is there for you if you put the effort in. And last year I had a few things going on outside of work, projects that I wanted to be available for, which is when I took the decision to step down from the role I was in and take on a more flexible role within the technical department. I love anything theatre based. I love musicals, plays, but without doubt Rebellion, the punk festival, is one of my favourite, and the darts as well in July. Obviously we have the World Dance Championships here as well, which is a massive thing for our building. It's good to see we get such a variety of events. It's hard to narrow down which would be your favourite, but definitely Rebellion and darts would be up there for me. Being a big musical man, I'd love to see so many shows that are on at the West End come here. Come From Away is a favourite of mine. I'd love to see that here. Wicked, when that eventually goes out on tour, would be great. Coop, to get that here. Well, you may have seen we're getting a lot higher calibre of show now, and there's a lot of planning got into that from way above me to attract those sort of shows in. So yeah, I think this year alone we've got some big names coming in. Jesus Christ Superstar and Juliet is coming onto the Opera House as well, so some exciting times going forward.
And that was Steve. Now, we learn a little bit more about the history of this iconic venue.
So we're here in the Empress Ballroom. Stephen, this is of course an iconic area, an iconic room, but what's its main function been over the years?
The Empress Ballroom, it opened in 1896. And it opened because it was in response to the Tower Ballroom that opened 2 years before. Blackpool had many ballrooms, even across the Fylde coast there were other ballrooms as well. And this became so popular for some time. But it wasn't always popular as a ballroom dance hall. Ballroom dancing did fall out of favour, so they did have to find other uses for this ballroom. But one of the strangest things about here is it was involved in the military effort. If we go back to the Great War, we're going back to 1918 this time. In 1918, the Admiralty took over the Empress Ballroom. And it was in here they created the envelopes, or the gas envelopes, for the R-33 airships. Those airships, many people would have just called them Zephyrs at the time, the huge balloons. And in fact, in here, there were photographs, and you could actually see the balloon reaching from that corner to this corner. It took up the whole and entire space. That happened during the day when that was going on. But then in the middle of the afternoon, all of that would have been folded, taken away, taken outside, and then the doors were open to the public to come in and dance. So not only was it an area for the military to use, it was also at the same time still a dance hall. It's also been used for other purposes, whether that is for exhibitions, functions. It was part of the original conference. But I think what I love about this space is that people don't know its real history. And that war effort, Blackpool's history is intertwined with the war effort, and especially here in the Winter Gardens. When we look up at the ceiling, there were originally 3 huge chandeliers. But because of those balloons, those envelopes that they were making, they had to remove them. And when the Admiralty left, there was some restoration work done. They didn't put the 3 chandeliers back up. They put 12 small chandeliers. Don't count them now. They're still doing repair and renovation work up there, and once that has been completed and they finish off the paintwork, then the chandeliers will all be hung back in this beautiful ballroom again. Its history is amazing. We're going back to World War II this time, and the RAF took over the Winter Gardens, and it was inside the Opera House here that those in the RAF received their training. And it is believed that many of them also received their instructions of where they were going from the Opera House stage itself. And it's in this area that they would have been seated to receive that information.
Thank you, Stephen. Now, over to Luke, who's in the conference centre with Suzi.
And I'm joined by Suzi, who is Head of Conferencing and Event Sales here at the Winter Gardens. Suzi, thank you for joining us.
No problem.
So Suzi, talk to us about the Winter Garden Conference Centre, because it's been up and running for a couple of years now.
It has.
And it launched in, was it 2022?
Yeah, 2022. The purpose of the new conference centre was to give that addition to the venue. We have our beautiful heritage venues in the building, and this new addition, state-of-the-art conference centre, you know, all singing, all dancing tech, brings that addition for conferences and associations who are looking for, you know, that addition.
So what type of events have we had so far in the last few years here?
So the Winter Gardens is obviously famous for its dance events. The conference centre is used for many dance events, as well as corporate events, association events, government events, as well as large dinners, charity functions, is something that I'm, you know, pushing massively at the moment. You name it, you know, we'll do it. We'll try anything, shall we say?
And of course, it's an immaculate facility since it's been open, and it's so nice to see that it sort of retains a bit of the heritage and a sort of, I guess, a new decor as well going forward. What can we expect going forward here at the conference centre? Are there many events? What type of events can we expect to see?
There's a big focus at the moment with associations. Obviously, Blackpool is going through, you know, this whole regeneration development programme, and in addition to that, you know, we want to give back to that economic benefit, so for the hotels, for the restaurant, for the shops, and I think that needs to be our key focus and remains to be our key focus. You know, whether it's dentists, doctors, nurses, microbiology, you know, we want it all. We want to be that place that Blackpool takes, you know, we're taken seriously as a conference destination. I mean, we all know there is some stigma around Blackpool as a leisure destination. However, it's our job to make sure, you know, we're pushing that business tourism as well.
So it's giving it a new image.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, Suzi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing what comes here at the Winter Gardens Conference Suite.
Earlier this month, I caught up with Richard Slater whilst he was setting up the Red Rose Awards. Hello, you join us at the Empress Ballroom now, ahead of the Red Rose Awards. I'm joined alongside Richard Slater. Richard, just firstly, tell us what your role is within the Red Rose Awards.
I lead the business. I'm the chairman of the business, Lancashire Business View, which stages the Red Rose Awards each year.
And this isn't your first time at the Winter Gardens.
No.
What is it about the Winter Gardens that is so appealing to you guys and makes you want to come back and host the awards here?
Well, you can see in the shot behind, over my shoulder, how awesome a room this is. And I think unquestionably there isn't a finer room in the north of England. But also it offers us the kind of scale we need for this event. You know, we need a venue that will take 1,000 people seated comfortably with this massive production that we put behind it. And this is the ideal venue.
And I think you just mentioned there 14 years of doing this. How long has this event been going on?
We started the event in here. It was 2011, and it's grown from here. The first time we did it, I think we had 550 people in the room, and we were delighted. We had no idea that we'd be able to attract that many. Subsequent to that, it went 550, 650, 900, and then ever since then it's been 1,000 plus. So this has been our home for the last 14 years. It's difficult to imagine a different home for the Red Rose Awards.
And just to sort of come to a bit of a close, I mean, you can see the hard-working people behind us in the background as we're starting to get closer to this event being put on. It's not just days in the lead-up that, you know, are I guess, crucial to it. You've put months and months of effort into this. Just talk to us a bit about like the process, I guess, of going to put on an award ceremony like this.
We'll start the planning next week with a debrief. We'll take a couple of days off. Friday, Saturday, Sunday we'll take off. But next week there will be a debrief straight away on what we thought. We'll see things that our customers don't see, that our guests don't necessarily see, but we'll think about those things. We'll be planning already for what we might do, and then it really kicks in, the thinking really kicks in from early summer, when we start looking at categories and descriptions and the marketing program and what we're going to do with the branding and how we're going to change the shape of the room or whatever it is we're going to come up with. But it is a long process, and you mentioned the teams that are out here, and if you think about, there are literally dozens and dozens of people working right now on this event. We've got Winter Gardens team, over there, they're prepping up all the pre-order drinks already. We've got Assets UK, which is our AV team, Blackpool-based business. All our suppliers are from Lancashire, just saying. The Assets, they're doing all this magnificent AV lighting, that 40-metre lighting and sound rig up there. Who else have we got? So we've got Campbell and Rowley on site, another Blackpool business. They're our caterers for this business. And we've got my team on site, Lancashire Business Food teams on site, just basically getting ready to rock. So there's a lot of people involved in an event like this, and it is time consuming and it takes a long time. But oh my gosh, it's well worth it. We wouldn't do it every year if it didn't put the joy. We get joy from it, and typically our delegates get joy from it. And we always think about the person who's not going to win.
Yeah,
that's the important thing for us at an awards event. And we perhaps imagine at that table there, at the back of the room, if they hadn't won on that table, are we entertaining? Are they getting a good night out? Are they getting what they went? Are we giving them an opportunity to meet businesses? Then yes, we are. And this whole environment contributes to that, because there's no question that venues, it's not just about the event. A venue has a part to play, and look at it.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and chatting to us. I know you're very busy, and the Red Rose Awards are not long away. In just a few hours, this whole venue is going to be filled with thousands of people from local businesses, and it's great to see. Richard, thank you so much for chatting to us.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Are you ready to raise a little hell? Bonnie and Clyde is coming to the Winter Gardens from the 25th to the 29th of June. Two small-town kids from the middle of nowhere become the biggest folk heroes in America. They create adventure and each other. Their names, Bonnie and Clyde. Winner of Best New Musical at the What's on Stage Awards 2023, the West End cult sensation is set to hold up the Opera House Blackpool following two hell-raising seasons in London's West End. Here's what to expect.
I think audiences can expect a real thriller.
They're going to be stunned when they see this show.
It's a night where we all get together and we all raise a little hell.
So 1 minute you're laughing and then you're like just horrified.
It's passion and letting go and freedom and all of that kind of stuff. It's rock and roll.
And that's why our fans are called Hellraisers,
By the time they've had an hour's worth of it, they'll be gripped.
This is not a sit back and kind of just watch thing. I think This is an edge-of-your-seat experience. It's a real roller coaster ride.
With an all-star cast including Alex James Hatton, Newsies and Heathers, Katie Tonkinson, Bat Out of Hell, who will star as the Notorious Lovers, joined by Daisy Wood Davis as Blanche and Sam Faraday as Buck, with Jazz Illington as the Preacher. It's sure to be one not to miss, and so we asked the team behind the show why Bonnie and Clyde is such a hit musical.
It's a contemporary story. If it wasn't about Bonnie and Clyde, it could be about some other people.
I think the Great Depression is a really good melting pot for delivering stories.
Everybody they pointed a gun at wrote a book. And there was one written by Clyde's sister and Bonnie's mother together. Very strange book. And it was a very personal account, had a lot of their love letters, a lot of the letters that she wrote to him while in prison. And that's where I found my in. I saw that personal story and that journey from these two kids, you know, who became ultimately what we know as Bonnie and Clyde, and I thought, okay, now this is something that I can really go for.
Fearless, shameless and alluring, this award-winning production has garnered a massive following, much like the infamous pair themselves, and now they're set to take Blackpool by storm. Discover the electrifying story of love, adventure and crime that captured the attention of an entire nation.
Oh, it's so good. Incredible. The show is amazing. It's just got a brilliant musical score. It's like taking a step back into history. I think it's such a good show. Like, I've been obsessed with it for years.
It's exciting, it's a little bit dangerous, it's romantic in its unconventional way.
It's one of the best shows that I've seen.
We come back and see it again.
Oh, there's some voices there, some real powerful voices.
The show's absolutely brilliant.
It's like blowing my mind. It's insane.
Great musical, great show, great storyline.
Epic. Loved it.
It keeps you on the edge for the whole time, and you kind of find yourself loving these characters that you're like, should I, shouldn't I?
It's sexy, it's funny, it's shocking and dramatic. It's just a really great night of entertainment.
As you can see there, it sounds like one not to miss, and you can book your tickets right now for Bonnie and Clyde coming to the Winter Gardens on the 25th to the 29th of June via the website at wintergardensblackpool.co.uk.
Before we move on, we want to let you know that we've officially launched Blackpool's Comedy Festival. There's some amazing acts including Jason Manford, Ruth E. Cook and Keith Carter, plus many more. Head over to the web address on screen to see what's available.
We've got lots on the way this April.
The Legend of Bob Marley on Saturday the 13th.
The Showcase on Broadway joins us on the 17th.
And Kaiser Chiefs are here on April the 19th, and we predict a riot of a good time.
And on Friday the 26th, we have the Mayoral Charity Ball and MJ The Legacy. That's all this month at the Winter Gardens. Be sure to join us next month for more of the latest.